Hi everyone, I'm Mayumi Yoshida. I'm a UC Berkeley alumni and I'm a district chair in this area for UC Berkeley leadership scholarship. So I know what goes on a lot in UC systems, and I've been working here over 10 years. Each year I put lots of students in good schools. So today I was asked to talk about how to make yourself stand out. But paradoxically, if everyone stands out, nobody stands out. So there's a way to stand out. Being stand out doesn't necessarily mean I gotta be a leader in this, I gotta be a leader in this volunteer work, I gotta get straight A's. It's all up to who you are and how you tell colleges about yourself. So before I start talking, let me talk a little bit about, because I had a particularly difficult year this year because I had a senior going to college. So I had to, in addition to taking care of my student, at the same time I had to take care of my own child. So May 1st was a very big day for me. May 1st is a National College Decision Day. And do you know what it is? Okay. So what it is?
You have to decide which college.
Yes. So May 1st, your deposit has to be in that college you want to go to. And no matter how many colleges accept you, you can only have one deposit in one school. And you have to know that because many students make a mistake. Okay, UC Davis want me, UCLA want me, so I'm gonna make deposit for both schools just in case. And it doesn't work, then you get kicked out by both schools. So if they find out, and they do find out because they have your student numbers and ID numbers, you'll be in trouble. And you start hearing from these schools mid-March, unless you do a decision. And by April 1st, all results would come out, including waitlist. So you have approximately 3.5 weeks to decide. And that's a very evening time because it's the biggest decision probably for students that they have ever made in their life, because it's going to change the entire life of the next coming 4 years and beyond. And for parents, it's probably a big decision, the biggest factor to influence your financial outcome for the next 4 years. So this was a big decision, but I was glad that my students and my own child actually had the choices at the end of the day, options to make. Okay, this college offers this much scholarship. This college doesn't offer scholarship, but it has the exact major I want. This college has a good environment, good teachers, professors, and good clubs. So out of these, which one's more important? Pros and cons, and you choose. So having choices is actually, I would like to talk more about today, but because having choices mean you have to make good choices, and you want to put you in the position to be able to make those choices. So competition in this area is getting higher and higher, unfortunately. It's getting extremely difficult to get into UC systems, particularly for Asian students. This year, UC Berkeley had over 80,000 applicants. UCLA had over 100,000 applicants. UC Davis had over 70,000 applicants. So the actual acceptance rate dropped to 18%. That's what statistically they said. But you know, if you are going to Silicon Valley area high school, and if you are Asian student, the actual rate is about 5%. So it's now different than Ivy League schools. So if you're going to look at just the top schools and think that, okay, one of the UC is going to be my safety school, so I will apply to a few good private schools and see what comes out, then you would end up having no choices at the end, and it's miserable. Fortunately, that hasn't happened to many of my, to none of my students. They all had choices, but I've heard terrible stories this year. You know, perfect scores, SATs, GPAs, leadership. Statistically speaking, you think, okay, I'm going to get into Berkeley no matter what. So I'm going to apply to Ivy Leagues just to see. No place to go. And this is a fact. I've heard more than one cases like that in this area. So you want to have choices, and choices means you have couple of safety schools, just in case. And several target schools. Target school means you probably get in. And a few reach schools, meaning, well, you get lucky, you probably get in. So I like to apply and see. And all these choices, no matter its safety, reach, or target, the schools have to be the school you will be comfortable attending if they accept you. If only your reach schools are the schools you want to go to, then if you don't get in, then it's a miserable May 1st. So let's make sure that you have choices and you don't know how to make these choices of where you fit. We have 30 minutes free consultations. And also, you can go to your Naviance at your school. Every student has a Naviance, except for a few schools, they are not linked to Naviance. So most high schools in this area have Naviance account. You can ask your child how to get in, or get in yourself. And there they have college chances. You go to the college chances page and put in your GPA and your SAT score and the college name. And then it tells you how many students applied from your high school last year, how many got accepted, and how many actually end up attending. So if you see a lot of acceptance, very few attending, then you know how popular that school is. And if you see very few acceptance rate, then you know what's going on. So that's the first place to start, to see where you stand. So now application form, unfortunately, is just a piece of paper. And how can you make yourself stand out filling out the same application form that 100,000 other students filled out? So like I said, best college means best match for you. Now let's go back to the old style and think about the dictionary definition. What does college mean? So college is a place where a collision was a club society group of people living together under a common set of rules. So if you think about college, that common set of rules means the mission, history, tradition, goals of that college. So what does UC Berkeley look at? UC Berkeley, I just listed out engineering school mission statement. UC Berkeley's engineering is looking to dedicate to creating tomorrow's leaders and supporting today's pioneers. So they want leaders, and they want someone who can pioneer, make something begin. If you look at Caltech, they want to expand human knowledge. They want you to discover something, and they want outstanding students to become creative members of society. Creativity is very important for Caltech. So if you're going to apply to college, you must have something like, after college, I want to create this type of software, this kind of things, I want to be this kind of engineer. You have to have some idea. And HabiMad, who knows about HabiMad? Okay, not many people are still familiar, but HabiMad is a very, very good, small engineering school. And what is different for this school is it is a liberal arts college. Normally, liberal arts colleges do not focus on engineering, but this college it focuses on engineering plus other subjects. So you have to be well versed in all of these areas, and in the humanities and social sciences. They call it MAT mix. And they also give you graduating project. You work together with companies, so you get a good job. So I wanted to say that just because I want you to be trapped by the names. Well, I have never heard of this college, so I don't want to apply. That's not true. Maybe this is a good match for you, and it's a good school. It's very difficult to get in. So, what do colleges look at? They have numbers, quantitative part, and they have personal, qualitative part. So the numbers meaning GPAs, test scores, challenges you have taken in terms of your coursework. So that occupies about 70% to 75% of your application out of 100%. But then again, this also depends on the type of school. UC San Diego, UC LA, this is very important. UC Berkeley, that side is more important. I have plenty of B+ average students who get into Berkeley because they had good quantitative part. But the only way to show that portion is through your essays. That's when essays become very important. Even if you have perfect scores here, if your essays are not interesting or doesn't tell much about yourself, maybe Berkeley is not a place for you. Okay? So for UCs, it's based on A to G coursework of the 10th and 11th grade. 10th and 11th grade. If you don't know how to calculate, if you like to see, that doesn't include PEs. It's A to G coursework, meaning core curriculum. If you go to Cal State University system has its own calculator on their webpage. And you can use that calculator to calculate your GPA. Okay? So Cal State has a CSU Mentor grade point average, or CSU Mentor calculator. Just Google that and you can find that calculator there. Okay, test scores, SAT 2 is no longer that important for UCs as long as you're going to School of Liberal Arts. If you're going to engineering, yes, you should take SAT 2 math, SAT 2 physics, SAT 2 chemistry. Okay? And, okay, so the qualitative part, volunteer, extracurricular, honors and awards, those are all very important, but UC likes to see your commitment. So instead of trying many different things, focus on the activities you like, activities that you think is a good match for you. So here is a 14 UC approved criteria. Those are the 14 things they look at on UC applications, and pretty much the same for private schools. Out of those 14s, I highlighted the important ones. Grade point average, test scores, courses completed and planned. So if you have high grade point average taking easy classes, that's not the way to go. You have to have honor classes and AP classes. If your school does not offer too many AP classes, take some college classes during the summer, or take online classes. Number 5, local context, which was formerly called eligibility local context, that used to guarantee one UC campus, such as UC Davis, San Diego, up until about 5 years ago. No longer it is guaranteed. The only guarantee you get is Merced. So, however, if you're top 50% of your high school, then you get you'll be notified by your school in October of your senior year. From there, UCs will do their own evaluations, and if you're chosen as the top 9% of the entire California high school, then you get a letter. You're chosen. Although it doesn't guarantee any one particular UC campus, it will bump up your chances to get into the UC campus of your choice. So everybody who got this, of my student, got into Berkeley. Okay? So performance in academic subject areas, of course, A to G, the same thing as number 1. Achievement in special project, number 9. So special project can be a science project, it can be a fundraising project through your volunteer work, or maybe you're a very great dancer, singer, sports athlete. Anything you have committed yourself, dedicated yourself, make yourself stand out is good. But state level is no longer enough. You have to go to national level. So how do you enhance the quantitative? GPA has to show upward trend. If you drop, it's okay. Just bring it up. Bring it up. I have students who had like 2 point something when she started. She was able to bring it 3.8 by the end of junior year. And so the rigor of classes, challenging number of APs, because they do calculate how many AP classes are offered at your school. Out of those, how many you took. So that is important, particularly in senior year. If you're trying to apply to private schools, and I hope everybody does, they look at your senior year coursework and they ask you, why are you taking this class? Why are you not taking AP physics if you want to be an engineer? That type of question would come out. Performance is subject related to the major. That's why. If you are going for biology major but you haven't taken AP biology, if you're going for engineering, you haven't taken AP computer science, you have to have some good reasons to convince them. But there are certain reasons I didn't do that. And as long as you have convincing reasons, it's okay. But you have to convince them. So we have interview practices for our students to make sure that they know how to get out of difficult situations. Okay, and activities, you have to be involved in school and outside of school, in and out. And of course, SAT, ACT, and SAT2. If you're applying for liberal arts colleges, SAT or ACT critical reading score becomes very, very important. And although, as I said, if you have good activities, you have something that stands out, SAT score is not that critical, but it becomes very critical if you want to apply for scholarship. Because each high school is different level, right? If you have 3.5 student in Monte Vista, but if you go to some other school, maybe you're a top student. So it's very difficult to gauge you depending, based upon your GPA. But if it's SAT, it's a nationwide test or international. So colleges tend to base the scholarship on your SAT and ACT score. So SAT becomes very important. Also pre-SAT. If you have very high SAT score, when you apply, low pre-SAT doesn't matter at all. But if somehow you are a top student, you have straight A's, somehow your SAT score is low. However, your pre-SAT was very high, you qualified to be commended, then you can kind of get by. So pre-SAT prep is also very important if you are 9th graders and 10th graders. So having choices, how do you make your choices? You have to have choose a school that have programs of your interest. Do not go to a particular school because the school is very long. And you have to choose a school that provides scholarship, right? You want to get some kind of scholarship. Schools with academic flexibility. 80% of the students do change their major after the first or second year. So you want to have that academic flexibility. I just got an email from 2 weeks ago from a student who got into UCLA last year. He wanted to do computer science. I said no, because your profile doesn't lead to that. Go in as a physics major. And we together read a few physics books before writing the essays. And we wrote essays about how physics interests him, and he got into physics major. And 2 weeks ago, he said, yes, I was successfully able to transfer to computer science. So you want to have that flexibility, allow that flexibility for yourself. And you want to choose a school where you can thrive. You don't want to go to a school that is beyond your academic ability and suffer there a lot. So, as you know, 30% of UC Berkeley students drop out. So out of 10, only 7 survive to graduate. So you want to choose a school where it's okay, that's okay. If that's the terminal degree, meaning after you graduate, you're going to get a job. But most students these days want to go to graduate school. And if your GPA is below 3.5, you can't really get into good graduate school. And at UCs, top UCs, it's very difficult to maintain 3.5 and be happy. If you want to be unhappy, yes, it could be done. So, okay, and schools that can lead to, that's why the postgraduate programs, good postgraduate programs, that's very important for you. And schools you may transfer later, this means I want you to include a few okay schools because once you get accepted, it is very easy to transfer to that school later on. You choose one school, somehow it doesn't work out. Somehow you don't like the environment. Somehow you change the major, you want to go to a school, different school. Once you applied before and say, well, I want to give myself a second chance, they understand. They understand. Yesterday I even got a letter from one of the private schools in East Coast that my own daughter applied and decided not to go. Said, we understand. However, if you want to be a visiting student at our institution for 1 semester, please do so. If you decide to transfer later, here's a website you can link to. So private schools are very understanding. And even within UCs, transfer happens a lot. So that's why you want to apply to a little more schools so that you can have the choices. So average share of students apply to 10 to 12 schools. That means UC has 9 campuses, but UC is one application. Cal State has 23 schools, but it's one application. So that's 2. 2 class 8 or 10 other schools. Now, pre-application. Now, if you're rising juniors, it's a pre-application time. My rising juniors and seniors. So it's a time to take a guided tour during the summer. Look at the schools. Since going to East Coast takes a week to look at all the schools, do that during the summer of your after your sophomore year. And then look at some schools in the West Coast if you're going to apply to the West Coast schools, and if those are on the top of your list. If the East Coast schools are on the top of your list, do it the other way. So whichever school is important to you, do it right before you become a senior. Take a guided tour that are connected to the school. And if those are really the top schools, have an interview right there with the admission officers in the summer, because they'll give you tips on what they're looking for. They also give you tips about essays. Oftentimes, private schools' essay topics are not announced until September. But if you take that tour, they'll give you the topic beforehand. So what do we do at Sherwood? We discuss ways to improve your profile for holistic review, meaning qualitative, quantitative both. And we will think of a way to make you stand out as you. Not just stand out because you have this, you have that, you have that. You have to be you. And SAT and ACT Boost during the summer, we have lots of classes going on. And we have some additional summer activities. For example, just yesterday, we finished a nice seminar that I have organized with Sound of the City for students who are going for international relations and business. So we had a very special lecturer come in. We gave reading assignment and had students take some test and had official certificate. So we plan this kind of activities a lot and give you links to them. Kickoff classes and interview practice. Those are the classes we offer for free for our students during the summer to prepare you early for college application so that you don't have to suffer through it when the school begins. Individual essay brainstorming and drafting. There's no limit to the number of hours we spend. I sit down with my student every week, 30 minutes, 1 hour, and work on the essays until we are satisfied. So we create very special essays. We can show you examples if you like. And most importantly, prepare a timetable and follow up with it, what you should be doing. There are certain things you should be doing right now before school ends. So if you want to know about it, we have 30 minutes free counseling, and I'll give you that so that you can follow up with it. And finalize and check application form. Application forms, I had a student who came in who finished the UC application himself. I have never looked at his application. And he got augmented review from UC. Augmented review means in January you get extra questions and essays assigned by UC because you're right here. Just one more step to get in. And so he came for help. What do I do? And I said, okay, I can help you, but I need to look at your application form because I want to know what went into it. And I checked his application form and said, okay, there are certain problems. We're going to fix that. So we fixed that problem. I contacted the UC admission personally, and he happily got into the top UC campus he wanted to go to. So application form check is very, very, very important. Very often students miss some things because they have forgotten some activities, but they thought it's not important. And follow up after submission. Like I said, the students get this kind of augmented review. You have to be checking your email all the time because colleges keep sending you emails and you have to respond to them very quickly to show your interest. So we follow up with students every week. Have you done this? Have you heard anything new? What can we do more to improve your chances? So we do all these things here, and that's why we are here for. And hopefully you have good choices, good options, and you can go to the college you want to. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Yoshida. Dr. Yoshida will be holding her college kickoff classes,
Yes.
where she begins brainstorming essay topics for students. I remember it would be
Second week of July for...
July 13th, is that right?
Yes.
For private schools? And August 17th for UCs.
The reason is private school common application. It's open on August 1st. You can open dummy account even now, but that account is completely wiped out. So there's really no reason, because if you want to see what goes into the account, I can show you. In August 1st, you create your own. So I want you to be prepared before that to fill out the application. That's why it goes on for July. In August for UCs, so that you can just be ready for UC. Because UC, you can't even open the account until October. So you have 2 months.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Yoshida. So if you're